Alright folks, we're having to go old school tonight and hold the dang camera because, well, my piece of crap tripod, which as Miss Katie said, you never really thrilled with that thing, and that's like, well, that's a freaking understatement. But it broke. Piece of cheap Chinese crap off Amazon, so, yeah, the snick, snick, snick. But, what's our new game, Toots?
Let's see here. Forward defense, 85.
And what lovely, delightful creatures on the front of it.
All I can tell you is that it's a tank.
And what kind of tank would it be?
I don't know.
Does it look like it makes me start to drool?
Okay. All tanks make you drool.
Well, okay. It is your husband's tank.
An A1?
An M1.
A what?
An M1.
An M1, sorry.
Yes, we will have professional development tomorrow at 17:05. So,
Oh, whatever.
But it's actually interesting because this is in an area that we did do some work in the Hanover out the Helmstadt area, where we worked with our German counterparts in the Panzertruppen. So this was sent to us by who is it? Is it Strategist Den? What's it say down in the bottom left corner?
Strategist Den Games.
So I have to thank the designer for it. This is his first game, and frankly, and I will say this again in my comments, I'm blown away by what it looks like. It's amazing, pretty amazing little piece. But what's funny about this is that Miss Katie and I weren't together at this time period.
No.
She had failed me by not making herself available somehow when I was at Origins.
Wait, so now it's my fault?
Well, and when I was at Origins, the first or second Origins at Johns Hopkins in 1977 or 78, that I was in the state of Maryland. And
I was like 16 or 17.
And she should have known and come after me, but she didn't, so.
Bite me. Jeez.
But, so we're looking forward to this one. Puppies are in the crate doing...
They're asleep right now.
Things are going pretty good with the puppies, folks. The run is up to 8 point... What did I say tonight? 8.5.
8.5, yeah.
So she's becoming less runny. Mm-hmm. Her brother...
but she's fast.
Clyde, it looks like he's going to be a bruiser, so game playing has not quite come to a halt, but it is slowed down because every about 45 minutes we're outside with the puppies. So, But all right, folks, I will get ready to talk here in a moment, and we'll see you then. Is that nodding of your head meaning it's running?
Yes, it's running.
Wow. Take a... Yeah, we're not saying anymore, are we, folks? We're just... Miss Katie showed me something interesting here. This little thing down here, it's a cute little fox. I had to point that out to you. I didn't get everything laid out, so I'll be doing that while I talk to you here. There are a whole bunch of cards with the game. Yeah, okay. Like I said, I didn't get those out. But there are cards with the game. There are retro counters. These counters are very retro. But first, let's talk about, we need to thank Strategist Den Games. Gotta thank them for this. They didn't need, and they're out of Pennsylvania. Oh, they're out of my own.
Where in Pennsylvania?
I think they're up towards Scranton, Wilkes-Barre.
No, okay.
I also need to say thanks, I'll do this holding my nose, to Kurt Hudson, my Army brother, who suggested we look into this game, and my bad, I looked at this at first and went, the old kinda. But there was something about this game that just, that Thomas Jefferson flaming ember in the back of my mind, where I would keep looking at it and keep looking at it and just said, okay, I'll ask them if I can get a review copy, and if they don't, I'm pulling the trigger. There was something about the game that I said, got to. So I went from lukewarm to the burning ember to having it in my hot, grubby little hands. So, I'm just happy about this. Now, this was to be my war originally. I figured this would probably be the only war, assuming I survived it. It didn't happen, thankfully. And it's funny because I showed one of my students in my most recent class that I've just finished for the Air Force a whole series of not MLRSs, but Katyusha launches, and just gone, my God, I'm glad I didn't have to live through anything like that. But the rules, you know, the rules are so retro. I love it. They're in a loose ring binder. I mean, this is retro. Because a lot of my stuff was in loose leaf binders, and I also had, which I don't have here, my tank book is a platoon leader and then a company executive officer and a commander, where if I pulled into a fighting position was a couple sheets to the wind, I would pull it out. This is what we do when we pull into the assembly area. So, this makes me feel good. Now, and I thought, well, it's going to be kind of a generic rule book and it's not going to be well illustrated. And I thought that from the start, going, yeah, okay, gee, one illustration. Oh, this is gonna drag. And then we get further in and I'm going, wow, this just isn't all text. Okay, said, well, you know, hey, anybody can do it. And then we go, okay, page of all text, but it's okay because we go back to examples again on the next couple pages of how things work, particularly combat and the firing example. So, can't bust there. The rules are kind of, and I need to show you again, they're in what I would call Dan Rather typeset. Remember when Dan Rather tried to use the wrong kind of type to try to get then President Bush? Yeah, use for a type font that wasn't in existence then. Well, you look, this looks like typewriter font.
Does.
Miss Katie, the federal secretary for years, and I did my own typing as a lieutenant, so the rules are well illustrated for my taste. Can't complain. 13 pages total. My initial thoughts is it's kind of heavier than, say, some Minden solo games, and I would say it ranks somewhere between about a 2 to 2.5 in terms of complexity. But we haven't played it yet, but that's my gut from reading the rules and working out examples in my noggin. Components. Well, we talked about the components are pretty dang retro. You look at these and you go, oh, they kind of remind me of Bill Gibbs' Desert Victory one and kind of some of the Omega Game ones. Well, they're not really critical for the game per se in terms of that, but you got the things to show strength of units, the various status boards, the NATO units, the Red Horde. And so at this point, you kind of might be drifting looking at those counters going, oh. But then you get these lovely cards. You get these lovely cards like Martyr, M113, which Miss Katie drove an M113 at Fort Indian Town Gap. T-72. The game cards are very nice looking. You've got M1s, you've got Bradleys, you've got Leopards, you've got Martyrs. All very nice. And then you've got your T-55, your T-64, your T-72, and your T-80. your BTR 60, which is a piece of crap, was just ready to be lit up, and a BIMP 2. And we've drove a T55 at Fort Hood, and let me tell you, they're painful to drive. They're very painful to drive. The cards, I will show you one, have 3 different data boxes on them. This is your crew quality, anti-tank, guided missile, and the various elements on the card that are, I have to put my glasses on to read, folks, movement, soft attack, hard accuracy, range, and armor. Okay. Very simple, very easy. Now, we also have 20 mini maps. And I think of these as they almost remind you of the 1/50,000 scale map sheets. They're one-sided, but you can arrange these kind of in any order you want to play. I kind of like this because at first I didn't like it because, well, it's different. And then I said, you know, these kind of remind me of the map sheets that we would collect up for Germany. And so we changed our mind very quickly on those. There are 2 scenario things. One's Helmstadt. We've been to Helmstadt. It's right on the border. And in the game, it's second Panzer. And I don't know if I worked with second Panzer. I worked some with the Panzers, and I worked with the territorial forces, and those territorial guys were rough people. And then there's the Hanover, which is the 1st Cav Division, which we always called the 2nd Armored Division because the 2nd Armored Division was George Patton's favorite, according to Mrs. Patton. It was God's own favorite division in the U.S. Army. The 1st Cav we always called the Chinese Commissariat because when they broke in Korea, they outfitted the Chinese Army. Not blame them, but when you were a young lieutenant, you wanted something on the other folks. These cards have nice history on them. They are on the back side, how you generate the enemy forces. And then you've got your campaign trackers. And I didn't read enough to see if these are dry erase. Me, I would be making copies. I just prefer to make copies. That's just. So, what's my battlefield sensing? Oh my God, for a first design, folks, I'm blown away on this. Completely blown away by this guy's first design. I sometimes take a while to play a game after we do the video. That's just, it just happens. There's enough things going on. Like right now, it's bark, 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 bark. This is one I will get to right after because I am behind on my Worthington games. So we got a Boxer Rebellion. Actually, this is the picture I should have showed you because this is the old U.S. Army I'll-try-ser where the guy gets the Medal of Honor. But this will be on my table very quickly. Very quickly. The ease of combat from what I can see, the ability to spin up your own scenarios, need battles, and a very enthusiastic designer who is chatting with me even tonight makes this a no-brainer, folks. I would tell you to get this before Thanksgiving, and when you're stuffed with turkey and ready to go into a coma, pull this sucker out, folks. It looks like a real winner to me. So I'm going to be cluing her in to get ready to turn it off since she's got different things. So as always, we thank you, folks, and have a blessed day. All right, folks. Some additional things, some books to talk about. Team Yankee by Harold Coyle, which was used a lot by the designer. The Third World War by General Sir John Hackett. And of course, I would tell you Red Storm Rising, which is really the one you want to read as well. Here's the map the map pieces I was telling you about that fit in the game. Good enough for me. I rather like them because, of course, they reminded me of the 1/150 scale maps. Now, unit counters. Okay. Tell me they aren't retro, right? Nothing terribly exciting, but they work. Okay, if they work, that's good enough for me. But the cards. Oh, the cards. The cards are lovely, folks. And you can see the box material that I was talking about. Now, let's go and look at the scenario cards and how to track your battle campaign, okay? You see here the information, a little setup, special rules, your objective, your initial force pool, and then your enemy force pool and who they are. Very thoughtfully thought out. And your campaign tracker and by platoons and missions. Pretty good, isn't it, folks? As always, thanks.